We're back with a blast from the past from Untitled.mob with Reese Milling, and, as usual, a surprise will be occurring. Keep watching.
When he's in the tech cupboard. Go. Hello and welcome to Untitled.mob. Joining me today. Come on, Jamie.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Corey.
Jamie.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
I've just
Oh, you've dropped your stool. Why have you done that?
I just dropped my stool. I don't know. I stood up and the seat.
Well, that is a shame. Do you know it's been what, 2 weeks since the last Untitled?
been quite a
We've
while.
had a lot of news actually.
We have.
I haven't got any of them.
No,
I'm hoping.
I had some saved in my Google News and they disappeared. So let me just.
Oh, that's incredibly helpful. If only we.
Oh no, I've got it in my keep. That's what I did. I noted it down in my. Right. Hold on. Let me.
Okay. Also, this week I've claimed a hostage.
Oh, who?
Can my hostage come on? This is Alm, my hostage.
Hello, Alm.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I can hear that the gallery have left the door open.
The gallery have
no,
left the door
all I can hear is Mark shouting.
Yeah.
Hi, Marks.
So.
Right.
Yeah. Hold on.
What's happening? Have we got
So,
anything?
One bit. Do we want to? Oh, we might do open source.
Oh yeah, open source project of the
Open
week.
source project of the week. I haven't got any slides this week because I was doing like 5 other things.
I mean, I had a diss due. I had an assignment due.
Have you done any of those?
Did the assignment?
Oh, nice.
Oh, surprising.
Thank you. I actually on the show that you and me both feature on, Jamie does pop culture. One of them was to try and pass my degree, and doing assignments does do that.
Yeah.
So there we are.
I just remember at NASTA, which obviously we'll get onto. You just keep going. Oh, my diss is due.
Well, I kept remembering at random points and going, well, I can't write it now. I must remember, and then I forget again.
Yeah, I remember.
I just don't know how you keep going like that. It's so.
It's unhealthy, isn't it?
So, open source project of the week. I was going to choose. Oh, they finally put my thing back in on time. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, we have 5 minutes to talk about open source project of the week.
Yeah, I assumed I'd collect more notes, but then I didn't. So, I'm choosing Blender.
Blender.
Yes, which is I'm surprised we never talked about before.
I'm sure we have once.
I'm sure we brought it up, but not for the reasons you think. I'm not talking about Blender as
So,
a 3D modeler.
yeah, hang on, just quickly, let's say Blender is mostly used as a 3D renderer, modeling renderer, you know,
Animate.
when you make,
Animate.
yeah, that kind of thing, animate stuff like that. When architects sometimes create like visual representations of their projects, it might be in Blender or whatever, and it's open source.
Yes.
And it is probably one of the most powerful open source programs.
Definitely.
Very much up there, yeah.
But I'd like to talk about it because it is also a surprisingly competent video editing software.
I mean, I can't say I've ever actually used Blender. Have you used Blender?
I have tried to, but it's so much is going on. It's really complicated to actually.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a bit
yeah.
to pick up on.
because
but
I've looked over your shoulder when you've been on Blender before, and it does look incredibly confusing.
I think it's mostly because I've just sort of existed. Don't want to say existed in the software. That sounds weird. But you know when you've just sort of been using a piece of software like passively for a long time. You
Yeah.
sort of pick it up. I've sort of been using Blender for like 4 or 5 years now. I'm not good at it because I've never like sort of sat down to properly like use it. But I can do stuff competently-ish in it.
Yeah. So is
point
it?
that-
Would you say it's your editor of choice?
It is my editor of choice. To the point that, do you know the UOI AM turnoff VT we watched
Yeah,
in the show on New
we
York
played it on York yesterday.
Minus the graphics, because those graphic templates were built for Premiere Pro, because that's generally what editors here use. So I went in Premiere Pro just to add the like lower thirds over the top.
Yeah.
But other than that, that was entirely edited within Blender.
Fascinating. I mean, what editor do you use? I bet it's not Blender.
No, Premiere Pro.
You use Premiere. I use Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
So
The only reason I don't use Premiere Pro is it means I have to reboot into Windows just to edit
Yeah,
it and
so
reboot back.
this is the thing with Blender, Linux friendly.
Yes.
Oh,
very.
you're a Linux fan.
Linux fan. Yeah, you are on Untitled. Do you use Linux?
I should try it out.
You should. What do you run now?
Windows.
Windows, yeah. You can get it looking pretty similar to Windows.
Yeah, but the looking's not the issue. It's
Yeah,
the
but what-
running stuff.
Okay,
like
yeah.
Premiere
What would you
Pro.
run on it though? Because you wouldn't be able
Almost-
to
is it-
run. You wouldn't be able to run Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
Well,
No. Actually, yeah. Would you like? We've got a bit of time left.
I did.
Would like to know why exactly are you such a big fan of Linux and why do you use it?
Open source is probably my biggest reason.
It's
I know that I'm not being. Well, I don't know. Well, I do know, but I don't understand the language it's written in. But there's a fairly decent chance, because it's open source, that I know there's no hidden viruses, no hidden trackers going on, that type of thing.
I mean, we know that from the XE backdoor.
They get found eventually.
Yes. For me, honestly, it's more of it's the fact that I don't want to have to pay some corporation to be able to use the computer I own.
Exactly.
It's mainly the thing
because
for
with
me.
Windows, you've got the license fee, which is included in most laptop purchases.
Yeah.
With Mac OS, you have to pay a premium just to have a MacBook that then runs the OS. So it's about freedom.
Yeah, and it's
Really.
also like you're saying, like trackers and stuff, although I care less so about.
I don't care too much. I'll be honest, the main reason I run Linux is because I wanted to try it, and then I just kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to the news?
Yeah, go on then.
The news.
Welcome to the news.
Welcome to the news.
The
So,
Dacia Sandero.
good news. The Apple car been delayed.
That's bad news.
There was like one article I remember while I'm like thinking about it that I saw. Do you know the Humane AI pin?
Yes, I actually watched a video last night from tech influencer Mr. Who's the Boss on YouTube, and they reviewed the Humane pin, and the review doesn't sound great.
Apparently, it's overheating at idle.
Is it?
Apparently.
Oh, he was just complaining it was over expensive.
Yeah.
But overheating at idle
Yeah.
is concerning.
No, this was a article. This was brought to my attention because I saw an article placed in our Slack by the one who was usually our Apple correspondent, Cameron.
Oh, you've said Cameron and knocked a mic over.
Oh.
Thank God that's the first time that's happened.
Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so Cameron put that in the Slack. Ugh.
Have you seen this? The Humane AI pin?
Actually, I haven't.
No, it's incredibly expensive. It's like £700 plus a £20 subscription, and it's meant to be a bit like a watch but worse, in my opinion. Obviously, I don't think it's that great.
Yeah, and apparently it's not that great. Apparently it's just an overexpensive, very unuseful phone.
Yeah, that's basically what I've heard. I've only watched the one video from Mr. Who's the Boss. Obviously, I haven't been able to broaden my horizons and look at all these different perspectives. But from what I saw on that, it doesn't look great.
Yeah, I feel like it's pointless to do so much for such a small gadget.
Yeah.
Because it's so uncomfortable to use. So yeah.
Yeah, if it's just sticking like here.
Yeah, I can imagine because it projects the UI onto your hand. I can imagine that's not
yeah.
great.
It won't look great. No, I bet it'll be far too dark in the sun.
Yeah. Also, another article I saw that I've just I've got a bit of tinnitus. Another article I saw that this must be, I think it was maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now this came out. But do you know the Amazon like grocery stores they had where you could just put stuff in your basket and then just walk out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have started to ditch that technology.
Yes, because wasn't half of it.
Wait,
I'll let you.
Quote,
I'll let you.
and I
take.
quote: "They've started to ditch this automatic technology that automatically scanned items and figured out what you were taking out, because apparently it instead actually relied on 1,000 employees in India to manually look at cameras and figure out what you were taking."
Yeah. So just to clarify,
I saw someone title this as AI, actually Indians.
Okay, yeah, to clarify for Amazon's sake, not that they need it, they were using AI. The problem was the AI didn't work so badly that I think it was 50% of like AI, what's the phrase, processes had to be double-checked by a guy or a person in India. Mm-hmm. So this is where the Indian thing comes from. It was they were reviewing when the AI wasn't sure, and the AI wasn't sure most of the time. So this is where it comes from.
Yeah, it's not even like it was like an AI algorithm to look at like the shape of what you were picking up or something. They had big QR codes and stuff on them.
Yeah, no.
I'm
it's just-
surprised it was that difficult.
It's just terrible.
Oh yeah, I've got the thing about the XE thing, but I haven't had enough time to look into the XE backdoor.
Yeah, so XE backdoor, we are going to do a bigger piece on another time.
Yeah,
just
because it
because
is a big-
we don't want to brief over it because it is a really big thing. But those that need to know already.
Yeah.
But if you don't, just remember to update your servers and anything.
Unless you're on Arch, which means case don't, because that's how it is.
Yeah, too late.
Well, that's the-
Anyway,
I think updating the servers kind of was the issue because it only got onto like testing, but like.
well,
it didn't
what
get
I mean
onto
is
stable
update
builds.
to the most stable on the
Yes.
stable branch. Don't go into testing.
Don't use Arch for server.
Yes. Anyway, have you got on your list the Black Magic stuff?
I haven't because that happened today. So
I would
mean,
just
as
like
we
to-
were made aware of this as well.
Yeah,
well,
I would just like to say quickly, we may go on to this next week, but Black Magic have just announced a new Black Magic Ursa Cinema 12K.
Was it not 17K?
They've put 12K on the website.
Okay, that makes sense. Maybe Sturkey just mistyped.
Yeah, we were told about the drop from Sturkey, our former technical director. Yeah, I'm having a look. It does just seem to be 12K.
They also released Resolve 19 beta.
They did, which Marks has been talking about. If you want to know more, highly recommend watching Erin, our head of presentations. You are waiting until Erin's show to talk about it.
Okay.
in brief-
I will give you a teaser of my thoughts on Resolve 19
Nice.
as told through the medium of the Techie Shit posted
Oh,
on
okay,
Slack
you're
channel.
going to read it. Right, I was going to read that out for.
Yes. My summary is I read through the What's New page for Resolve 19, and my thoughts were, in real time, roughly useless, more useless AI crap, more useless cloud crap. Oh, that's cool. Useless. Hallelujah! Holy shit, they fixed the thing that was annoying me about audio. Oh my god, they've literally made audio editing so much better. More useless AI crap.
Would you like to tell us specifically what the audio thing is?
You can now change the source for a sidechain compression per track rather than just having one sidechain bus.
And if you know what that means, good for
Then you're probably already
If you
excited.
want to find out what that means, watch Fix It in Post.
I was trying to remember the name of the show. Watch
in
Fix It in Post. Erin will be going into stuff like that with Marks, I assume. But yeah, they've also released a load of other things. They've just done a big drop of a load of kit, including a $3,000 Blackmagic Ethernet switch, if you really want one of them, for whatever reason.
Do you know?
Oh, it's got an SDI out,
You know,
apparently.
I can see one use case for this.
Go on.
Which is big media company with deep pockets pays Blackmagic, says, give us a full setup.
Well, what? So they come in and just install everything?
It's for contractors that install, like contractors that are done, but like that get a percentage of the entire cost, right?
Yeah.
Or buy the Blackmagic Ethernet switch for a company that might not know the difference between a Blackmagic one and go, oh, that's a video company, it's better.
I
So
think
they'll get
there
a bigger
is,
commission.
if I remember correctly, I did chat to Marks about this, there is a reason.
It's the same with like really expensive rugs exist as well.
Oh, 10,
It's my assumption.
10G Ethernet for SMPTE 211. Sorry, 2110 IP video routing.
Sorry,
So here's the reason for that.
Yeah, there was a reason.
So, the reason for that is SMPTE 2110, which is the new hot thing on the block in terms of video standards. It's like NDI, except not owned by NewTek and uses way more data. What do I mean by way more data? From memory, I could be very wrong on this.
That's where usually where data comes from.
Either a 1080p 25 or 20p 50, probably the latter, 2110 stream. Okay, place your bets. How much bandwidth do you think a 1080p 50 video stream uses?
What codec? What format?
2110.
I don't know what.
I'll give you a hint. It's uncompressed.
Gigabit.
About 1.1 gigabit per second. And 2110 also has really precise timing requirements to keep all the streams in sync, which some cheapo network switches, even if they did theoretically support 10 gigabit, which they won't, but even if they did, probably wouldn't support. So you
this
might
is
want specialized hardware. And for some reason, it has an SDI out to give you a pretty screen with graphs.
Yes. On the website, they've included a screen above the Switch with graphs of each like port.
None of which you can see, but
Yeah, none of which.
go to the website, I guess.
Anyway,
But
you're
stay here.
you're over time, so I'm gonna leave.
Yeah,
Bye.
let's go.
Would
So
you buy a
in-
Switch? Would you buy a $3,000 Blackmagic Ethernet Switch?
No,
No, not a fan.
So next we have our interview with guest.
kind of expensive. Though.
So.
Yeah, we're still discussing the Switch.
Right. While you discuss the
We can move
we'll
on.
have our first interview with guest, which I actually recorded as a VT interview earlier this week. Roll VT.
Reese, what's your favorite bodge?
I like the Wiseview website, that's a good bodge.
Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, the video on demand platform, the way it works is there's a Jenkins job which copies the old Wiseview database, migrates it to the new one, and then that's how it works. So you still use the old systems to upload videos, then you watch on the new website.
What's your favorite production?
The production Fight Night.
I directed a visual.
Why is Fight Night your favorite?
Sorry?
Why is Fight Night your favorite?
It's where all the action is on campus, really. You get the best fights, the best atmosphere, the best drinks, the best thing you can get.
It's his favourite because I directed a visual ministry.
Have you got a show and tell item?
It got 4K views on YouTube.
Exactly.
Hey,
So this is Meg's house keys.
Beck's house keys.
Which one's the key?
That's the question.
I'm so glad it's out of focus because I don't want to put it in focus in case someone can clone Beck's house keys.
Wow. You can see this part though, this is pretty cool. So you can go like,
Oh, it's like a.
I'm sure that's ruined the shot.
That's ruined the shot. You're not in focus anymore. There we go.
Excellent.
Go click it. There we go. Click. Thank you, Milling.
We'll find it.
Where's our floor manager?
I am the floor manager.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I am. I believe we may have cut back as soon as Jamie goes, "Where's our floor manager?"
Oh, we can go.
Okay, go.
Thank you, Max. Temporary floor manager.
Temporary floor manager.
Hang on, no, we can't go. Can you count us in?
Alan, what's your favourite bodge?
My favorite what?
Bodge.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't have a favourite bodge?
No.
Do you have a favourite production?
Here, in general.
Here in general. You're giving very generic answers.
It's fine because technically we're supposed to be on past week, so it's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, what we've been up to?
What have we been up to? NASTA?
Oh yeah, we won some awards.
We won some awards.
So we won gold event coverage for
And you wear a
Roses.
suit.
I did wear a suit. I went up on stage and collected the award alongside Cameron and our previous station manager, director, Meg
Hard
McGuire.
Noah.
And then Marks went up on stage and won Best Technical Innovation. Is that
Best technical innovation.
achievement?
Or technical achievement, something like
one of them. Marks went up and won it for Badger and then punched a mic while calling to Cameron.
Yeah. Which was
Hence your little stunt earlier.
my little stuff.
It's a brilliant clip. Would recommend.
It is very-
But they
it's on our
really.
TikTok if
The
you're
worst bit
interested.
about that is they really deserved that award.
They did.
But you could tell they were excited about it, which is nice. But yeah, that's what we've been up to. Not a lot else because we've just started term.
Yeah, not really much else either. Not obviously we weren't doing much over the holidays.
Yeah.
Um.
Well, seeing as we have some time left, I want to go back to the Black Magic stuff.
Okay, sure.
Because one thing they have actually introduced that would be really handy to us is an ATEM micro panel.
Oh yeah, I saw this. What does that? Is that just like a?
So
You connect that
it's-
to a
It's
ATEM and
literally
it's
you
like a-
connect it. It's like a Stream Deck, pretty much. You connect it over the internet to the ATEM, and you can control like a rack-mounted ATEM, or you could control a non-rack-mounted if you're insane. But it's also, I'd like to preface this by saying, in terms of Black Magic, affordable. No, that's not the right word. Not expensive. Not stupidly expensive.
This might seem weird, but I don't know much about Black Magic. I could have sworn they already made these.
They made larger panels,
Oh, so
but
it's
not.
smaller.
This is a micro, more affordable panel.
It's £700.
It's
$675 or something.
that's in dollars.
Oh, okay, then I don't know.
I don't know what that is in pounds. I'm gonna look that up. in Great British, that's a P, pounds. It's £542, which for Blackmagic, once again, very affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be cool for something like ROB kits.
That's what I was thinking. Instead of having 2 Stream Decks there for.
Yeah. So it's quite cool. It's nice to see they're going for like, I was about to say budget stuff. It's still not that
Affordable
cheap.
stuff.
Budget in comparison to
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
pretty much
Last
it.
week we haven't done a lot else.
No. What are we doing next week, Jamie?
Well, what are we doing next week? You've got a show coming up next week. You're doing some filming.
Yeah. We should
Jamie,
come.
do you want to know who's starring in that
How many?
show?
Sorry.
Do you want to take a guess who's starring it? Oh, no. Which show are we talking about?
Yeah, what show are we talking about?
Well, there is 2 of them.
Which one? Pick one.
Well, why not talk about the newer one?
Okay, what's your new show?
It's called Agree to Disagree.
Yeah.
And I've got people just debating each other. And my first guests are going to be Jamie and Cinziana.
So it can only go well.
Classic.
There you go, well.
Yeah. Stay tuned for that next Friday on YSTV Live.
Yeah, we've got a lot of shows this YSTV Live, Tim, haven't we? Like, I remember
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got a show, and it's only every 3 weeks now because
Yeah.
it's got
Yeah.
that many shows.
Untitled is still every week. Which is
Sadly,
great.
I still have
How
to be
do you
here
do
every week,
that?
sadly.
You clearly haven't watched the show. We just lose it at certain points.
Yeah.
That pretty much sums it up. Yeah, what else next week? There's probably something I'm missing.
There's probably something. We'll talk about it in the last week section of next week.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Then we
Yeah.
know more about it.
Yeah, let's go home.
Okay, cool.
So, thank you for watching Untitled.mov. I've been Corey.
I've been Jamie.
And I've been Almira.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.